I know, look! Look at Mommy.
And here it is, Hayley Turner's 1,000th career winner, 23 years after her first. She's done it on Tradesman to beat De Vegas Warrior and Grand Duchess Olga.
That's cool.
It's not an easy thing to do though. 1,000 wins takes some getting.
Well, it's took me plenty of time. It's nice to see that, you know, the girls behind me, you know, that are up and coming, the likes of Holly, Safi, Nicola Curry, Josephine, they're all, you know, riding so well every day. And although it's taken me 20 years to do it, it will probably take them, you know, half the time. But it's nice to see the progression from when I started to now. So yeah, it's great.
When I was younger, I was not really that interested in my education, should I say. I enjoyed going to school, but more to hang out with my mates. Well, I did, you know, I wasn't very academic, but I scraped through, did what I had to do. But when I left school, I wanted to do something with horses, because as a child, I'd always, I didn't have my own pony, but my mum was a riding instructor, so I used to follow her around and ride everyone else's ponies that had let me, and used to go to the local stables and, you know, muck out and sweep the yards in return for a few lessons. And there was a guy in my year called Adam Pogson, and his dad was a trainer, and he says, "Oh, I'm going to the Northern Racing College, why don't you come and have a look?" So I went on a taster day there, and that's what I wanted to do then. I went to the racing school and I said to my mum and dad, "Oh, I'm going to be a jockey," and they were like, "Oh yes dear, of course you are," you know, thinking it was just one of those phases I was going to go through, but I actually followed up. So when I was 16 and I'd done my GCSEs, and I mean, I didn't disgrace myself, but you know, the results wouldn't have took your breath away either. And my mum and dad have always said, just do something that you enjoy and you want to do, and so I think I got my GCSE results, and then about 3 weeks later I was at the racing school. When I was at school, I enjoyed PE and textiles and art and drama. I didn't do anything with horses. Weirdly, I would probably have done something down the textiles route. I was really good at it, although I've never done anything since school, you know, apart from stitching up a few holes in my shirts or whatever. But no, I'm more of a sort of outdoorsy person, so yeah, horses was for me. When I was younger, there wasn't anyone in racing that I looked up to, because I hadn't really been introduced to racing as a child, or even as a teenager. The first day at the races for me was the first day I ever had a ride, so it was a big learning curve. You know, I was always outdoors kind of doing stuff. I think that going into racing at the age of 16 isn't unusual, particularly because I could ride horses anyway, even though they weren't race horses. But I do know people that have gone to the racing school at the age of 16 never having sat on a horse before, and they think it's fine, and it is fine. They can just sort of learn the racing way. I mean, people that have ridden horses before have to change, you know, a lot of methods to the racing way. So yeah, anyone can do it really. When I decided I wanted to be a jockey, it was at the racing school, and I was quite good in my class, and I rode all the naughty ones, although I wasn't particularly strong. I got run off with a few times, but you know, I could sit on all the naughty ones, and I think I was quite good. And because I was small, they said, "Oh, you should be a jockey," and I was like, "Yeah, I'm going to be a jockey." So, you know, when I announced it to my mum and dad, they, you know, just nodded their heads and went with it, thinking, "Oh, yeah, she'll be a ballerina next week," and that sort of thing. But no, I just went from there really, and had, you know, lots of people in racing that I was new to that were supporting me to do it. So I think to start with was I need to get my licence. So that was, you know, bit of a challenge. You got to go to the racing school, pass all the fitness tests, and then the first thing was I wanted to ride. That was my biggest target. And then when I'd had a few rides, I was like, oh, I want to have a winner. And then when I had a winner, I wanted to have a few more winners. And then, because I was an apprentice, I wanted to turn to a professional, which was 95 winners. And then I think the most satisfying winner for me was the first winner I had without my claim as a professional, and I was riding against, you know, the likes of Frankie Dettori and getting no weight allowance, and we're getting paid the same, and I won the race, and that made me think, well, I could actually do this for a living. And then it was just like, well, do this for a living, need to pay my mortgage. So that was my next target, and then I just kept sort of making sort of strides as I went along, but I never had, when I just got my licence out, someone said, oh, you're going to ride 1,000 winners, I'd be like, really? Jokes. But so I'd never imagined I'd do as well as I did. So it makes me really pleased to see how easy it is now, and probably looking back, it was more difficult than I thought at the time. I think not having a female that had done that before was almost beneficial in a way, because I'd get a lot more hype and publicity than, you know, anyone else did. So for example, when I rode 100 winners in a year, my friend George Baker, who's the same age as me, kind of done the apprenticeship together, he did it a week before, and he got, you know, star performance in the Racing Post. So when I did it a few weeks later, I thought, oh, I might get star performance in the Racing Post. And then I like literally could not believe the amount of media that grabbed hold of the story, and I was like, wow, you know, I was just oblivious to it, to be honest. I think the further away I get from it, because I'm still riding every day and still in the thick of it, and, you know, hanging out with the jockeys, like I just feel like I get more praise than I deserve sometimes, and because I'm just like, they're working as hard as I am, you know, it's one of those. But yeah, and it's nice to see now that those, you know, I had 100 winners, and then Josephine Gordon did it, Holly Doyle's done it, I would imagine Safi will be the next one, Joanna Mason. The quality of female jockeys now is, you know, really, really good, and there's going to be a massive change in the numbers over the next sort of 10, 15 years. When I started having winners, you know, listed winners and group winners, and then I had the biggest win and most memorable one for me was Dreamhead winning the July Cup, and I think that was just a really special day, because it was a big, you know, there's a few group ones, but that's one of the big ones, and it was just so satisfying. And again, it's probably something I didn't appreciate that at the time, how big a deal it was. But yeah, and then to like follow that up with another one, and then another one after that, you know, it wasn't just like a one-off fluke, and you know, and now the girls are doing it every season. You know, it's becoming a norm, and it's nice to watch the racing on the TV, and they don't go, oh, girls just won a Group 1. It's like, this horse has done it, given a good ride by, you know, it's not, you know, it's not addressed as a female anymore, it's just normal. So what made me the jockey that I am is very self-critical. You know, I'd had my first winner, I was awful, you know, how the horse won, and I always want to do better. And as I said before, I compete with other jockeys, and I don't see myself any different. Maybe I have to work a bit harder on my fitness and stuff, but I've just got a lot of drive, and I just want to do better, and just super competitive. And even now, it's like, you know, I still enjoy going racing every day, despite, you know, the thousands of miles we have to drive every year, and I still enjoy it, and I've still got that buzz for it. And I think, yeah, I am probably, you know, not cocky, and I don't think that that's necessary. I suppose it's like the difference, Frankie Dettori's cocky, Ryan Moore's the opposite. They're both equally good jockeys, but their personalities are very different. Holly Doyle, Saffie Osborne, they're quite different people, and but they're both really good riders. So yeah, I don't know, it's just competitive, I suppose. My 1000th win I started thinking about when I got into 900 winners, and so my family aren't in racing at all, but my nana, since I started, has watched every race, and she's got a little notebook. She had a little notebook by her on a little coffee table, and she'd write where I got placed on every horse. And every time I had a winner, she'd message me. And I think I got to like 920, and my nana passed away. And it was like, oh, I'm not going to get, like literally she never missed a race. And I was like, because I'd said to her, I'm going to try and get to 1,000. And oh, she'd have, I think the last week or two on the build-up, she'd have been more stressy about it than I would have been. She'd just been, and she never said, the good thing about my nana is she never says anything negative. She's always like, you know, if I was in a race and I finished last, but I made the run-in, she'd say, you did ever so well for such a long time. You know, whereas my mum would be like, oh, second, that's no good. Whereas I'm like, oh, you did ever so well, you finished second. So she was so positive all the time. But yeah, she'd have been confident that I'd have got there. But yeah, I was like, I knew she'd be watching, so. And the last 200 has been a lot slower and harder than the mid-session. The start was hard, the mid-bit was easy, and now it's, you know, there's just so many good jockeys riding and coming through that it's super competitive. And so yeah, I think having my 1000th winner at Chelmsford for David Simcock and for the owner, Khalifa Dasmal, was super special, because my biggest win on Dream Ahead was for the same trainer and the same owner. And the build up to when I had my 1000th winner, I got a load of rides off trainers I wouldn't usually ride for, just like they're trying to give me a hand to get there, and it was really nice of them. But I think it meant a lot more to a trainer that actually helped me get to where I am. You know, from day one I was riding winners for him, and not huge quantities, but some really special ones. And so yeah, it was, you know, it was a quiet evening at Chelmsford, but it meant a lot to me. I actually had, so the build-up was, you know, like I said, lots of people giving me chances, but I kind of like was on a few favourites, and I was reading the paper thinking, I can see this getting beat, you know, like they all had chinks in their armour, and I knew that Tradesman was running at Chelmsford, and I knew that if I didn't do it before then, it would be him. And I know the horse very well, and the race was just perfect for him, and I was just super confident, to be honest with you, that if it wasn't any of the others, that he'd have done it for me. And if he didn't win, I'd have just been like, well, I'll give up, because I did drag it out a little bit, you know, like, oh, I'm going to ride 1,000th winners, and then like a month later I'm still trying, and everyone's getting bored now. And it's like, I know a lot of the media people have said to me it's really annoying because they had to wait up for the evening racing in case I did it, and so I think everyone was a bit relieved when I finally got there. It was actually quite satisfying that I won on Tradesman in particular, because it wasn't like a sit second, you know, squeeze turning in and win 3 lengths. He's the sort of horse that you have to sit quiet on and hunt them round and hope they go quick enough and hope you get the gaps. And he's not an easy ride, and you need to be on the ball to ride him. So I think that's what made it more satisfying as well, that I actually gave him quite a good ride, so I was happy with that. I was super calm when I rode him, because that's how you have to ride him, is just with confidence. And riding for David Simcock is, you know, he's got a really good jockey's mind, and feel very relaxed. You know, he really helps with the riding a horse with confidence. So when I crossed the line, I felt relieved. I was like, oh, thank God that's done now. Stop going on about it. And yeah, no, I was happy to get it done, I have to admit. Over the years, the reaction I've had from people has always surprised me, because I've been the first woman to do everything, more or less, and then so I was kind of expecting it to be quite a big deal, but again, more so than I imagined. It was, yeah, it was really nice. I feel very lucky that, you know, I've been in this position to be able to, you know, I'm doing what all the lads have done, but just getting more praise for it. So I almost feel a little bit guilty about it sometimes. I never feel any pressure, sort of. I mean, I love the thought of it, you know, helping other girls and, you know, paving the way, and, you know, that's really complimentary, and I like being, you know, the sort of role model. But, you know, it's not just me that's done it. You've got, you know, I did that, and then Josephine Gordon's helped. Kathy Gannon, who's not riding anymore, she was a big success. It's not just me there's so many other girls that have, you know, dipped in and out as I've gone, you know, I've probably been around quite a while, but and they've all helped as well. And then you've got lights of Holly and Joanna Mason, who's, you know, really flying up north, and then Safi, and then you've got even, you know, the younger girls coming through, and it's just, they're so good. Yeah, I feel like I've definitely done more than I ever expected, and I've really enjoyed it as well. And yeah, I don't know, I probably don't appreciate it as much as I should do, but yeah, I mean, I'm still going strong, so hopefully there'll be a bit more to come. I suppose in a way, child Hayley was very competitive, and I think all my sisters are older and I was the younger one, and never thought I was smaller and not capable. If they could do it, I could do it. It was one of those. And so if I don't know, if I was me as a child looking at me as an adult, I'd be like, yeah, I can do that. I'm going to be like her, you know. In fact, I'm going to be better than her. So.